Sometimes you look in the mirror and realize what you are now is all you will ever be. You have to make peace with that. More stop looking in mirrors. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Fluffenhammer. Hold on, we're getting ancient. Roll the music! I'm going to see if either of you two know where it's from.
I have no idea.
The accent I used was as close as I can get to the accent of the person who actually said it. And I have tried. It is Londo Malari from Babylon 5.
That was Londo's voice?
I cannot replicate Londo Malari's voice. Like, at all. I have tried for the last week.
I like the fact they are getting more esoteric as time is going on.
Yeah. Oh, trust me, there are things in this book which, when I use them, you're just going to be going, the fuck?
Yeah, where did that? What?
What? Why have you thought of that?
To like really obscure fiction. You need to get some more like Lovecraft or Moorcock in there.
I've got a Dorian Gray one in here, which is going
to... that one I'll get. That one I'll definitely
piss
get.
Everybody off. I've got a. Do you remember the song by? Oh, I can't remember the name of the band now. But do you remember the song "Stacy's Mom"?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've rewritten that to be about Jason Voorhees.
Mm-hmm.
Jason's mom's got it going on. It goes on for a little while, so I haven't used that one yet because it's quite a long one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've got to throw you some. You've got to use some of the stuff from the Liber Chaotica Nurgle as well. Some of those rhymes are great.
Yes. At some point, I need to sit down and.
There's a lullaby, isn't there? There's like a nursery rhyme about the grandfather, and it's really creepy. It's really, really good.
Yeah, I think if I was going to do something like that, I want to try and have it so I've got some background music to play at the same time.
Sort of nail it, that one. Yeah, it is kind of epic, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a few of them, but I'm going to work my way through this brown book of mad thoughts that I've got. Once that's all used up, then I'm going to start going and looking at some other areas.
Uh-huh. You really want to do one of one of Lovecraft's run-on paragraphs where he just keeps putting sub-clauses upon sub-clauses upon sub-clauses upon sub-clauses. Like from the ones from At the Mountains of Madness.
Yeah.
Where they go on, in some editions, they literally go on for a page or more.
I mean, what I could do at some point, and I've thought about this a couple of times.
You need to pause for breath if you were going to do one of them, obviously.
What I've thought about doing a couple of times now is reading the Anne Rice interview with the vampire page that made me realise that I hated Anne Rice. And it's the sequence where Lestat attacks somebody and she spends a page and a half describing a wardrobe.
Oh, I love it.
Genuinely, it fascinates me that you should be experiencing this visceral, feral vampire attack, but what you get is a fucking wardrobe.
That's one of the things I loved about the more recent series of Interview with a Vampire. It took away, how Anne Rice kind of apologizes for what fucking monsters they are?
Mm-hmm.
The new TV series doesn't. It kind of peels away all of that romanticism.
Okay.
Through the eyes of the interviewer. He's much more of a character in this series than he is in the book. And he keeps reminding Louis, like, Oh yeah, you're talking about how romantic it was and how in love you were with this character and that, but you were still fucking murderers. You're all still fucking serial killers with corpses all over the place, so don't come that with me. Don't come that, oh, pity me, I'm such a sad immortal with me. It's quite clever in that regard. It kind of inverts what Anne Rice does with the material.
But Anne Rice treats vampires as angels.
She does, yes, and it's really strange. You know what really pisses me off about Interview with the Vampire? They are gay, right? They are in a romantic relationship, but for some reason, he just won't let it happen.
That's because of the strong Christian overtone.
Right. The series just goes for it. It just takes the subtext and just like, right, no, we're not fucking about with this nonsense. Here they are. They're in a romantic relationship. That's it. Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Good.
I can't stand the fucking about. It really annoys me. Because it's kind of queer basing, isn't it? There's a queer basing element to it where it's like, oh, kind of gay, but they're not. We're not, they're sanitized gay characters,
Like Teela in the Netflix He-Man series, where it skirts right up to the line but never crosses it.
Never gets, yeah.
Is that the one written by Kevin Smith?
Yeah. It's heavily implied in that first series that she is like in a lesbian relationship, but then it does away with it completely. It just sort of like completely does away with it, which is annoying.
I think, Andy, you're being very kind to it when you call the Netflix Master of the Universe dog shit.
Kevin Smith can't write anything. He just can't.
I kept comparing it. I kept comparing it to that She-Ra series, which was fucking amazing. It was just brilliant, on every level: the writing, animation, the voice acting, the themes it played with, the way it kind of inverted some of the elements of the original series. Absolutely fantastic piece of work. And then you get this, which is kind of like just fan wank. It's just fan wank, it's just someone who's too much of a fan to write the material. They're too close to it,
That's the thing. Was Kevin Smith a fan? Because this is the thing. I don't think he was.
Not from how that show was written.
No. I think what he's done is he has gone off and thought, what do fans want from this? But without being a fan, he's clinically misunderstood every single step of the characters. And as I say, Andy, I will disagree with you. Kevin Smith can write. No. He just can't be arsed.
It's probably the weed brain. The weed brain got to him.
Possibly. Because when that man writes, his Green Arrow run is fucking astonishing.
Oh, yeah. How long ago was that, though?
24 years ago.
24 years of hard weed and other substance abuse, I would imagine. But yeah, I'll agree. The Green Arrow was good, but then I remember he wrote something where Batman pissed his pants, and you're like, you don't get Batman, do you?
No,
you don't understand him.
Yeah, but Batman pissed his pants in the Year One story.
Yeah, it's like no,
it's like you don't
come on,
don't retcon something like that. That's stupid. But his Daredevil run is also really, really good. Clerks, the animated series, is hilarious. It is genuinely funny. I don't know how much of that he wrote. His films...
they're up and down, aren't they? Some of them are very good, and some of them are real stinkers. I mean, like, execrably bad.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where when Kevin Smith can work, he can work. The man puts the hours in.
When he's doing that thing he's good at, which is that sort of stoner humor, lost 1990s Generation X kind of thing, he's quite good at that.
Yeah, because he writes what he knows.
Yeah, what he lives. Yeah, exactly. But when he strays into other areas, it becomes problematic. And you get tired. I get tired of his films where they are just like, oh, I'm so connected. Here's this Hollywood person. Here's this person.
Yeah,
I get it. I get it. Okay.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
I think he's like a lot of Hollywood people. He's rich now and he's not hungry.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to try.
Yeah,
and I'm not making. That's not a joke on his weight, though it easily could have been.
Oh, he's lost all the weight, hasn't he?
Yeah, I was going to say, oddly enough, he looks more
really-
hungry than he ever used to.
Yeah, and you know what? He's the kind of guy who looks way better with the weight.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He looks healthier and more sort of. he
Well,
looks more
I guess you
Yeah.
could argue because he lost the weight later on in life, and thus his body couldn't really recover from
Yeah.
the stretching and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Yeah.
Well,
Good for him for losing the weight, because
Yeah,
I
let's
mean,
go-
yeah.
let's go
Stroke and whatnot.
skinny shame the
I mean,
man.
he's just.
I will.
I'm just up and down with Kevin Smith. You know, some of his stuff I think is really good, and it sort of defines a certain experience. You know, a certain American experience, which is so interesting.
I have a
then-
feeling we can mock him, and I don't think he'd care. And I think
Of
he has
course not.
enough money for him
Yeah,
not
of
to
course.
care as well.
Of course, yeah.
I don't care about Kevin Smith's response. I care about
stuff.
not getting into that kind of mindset.
But yeah, you are right. Some of the stuff is just lazy. Some of it is really bloody lazy. You know.
It is, and you know, you saw that, and it happened somewhere in the 2000s, I think, where he just stopped giving a damn. I think, yeah, but it happens. You know, he makes more of his money now off his podcasts and things like that. So yeah, all right, fair play to him. You know, and his live shows are always interesting. They're always a fascinating experience to watch. But all in all, I think Kevin Smith, he's a man that had a window of time and has fought tooth and claw to stay relevant when perhaps he shouldn't be anymore.
Yeah, it really was that sort of mid to late 1990s, early 2000s period, wasn't it? That he was sort of expressing and describing. And that was when it was best. That was when his work was at its height.
Yeah, 100%. And what he needs is somebody behind him who can hold the purse strings. I mean, Clerks is a solid film.
Oh, it's great. Clerks is so good. Clerks is so good.
But it's like that because he doesn't have any money to do anything with.
Exactly,
the guy self-financed the film. You know, he maxed out his credit cards and sold his comic book collection in order to get that film made. He doesn't have the money to do anything. So everything has to be on the characters and on the dialogue, and that's what makes it so good. Clerks 2 is funny, but it's Jesus Christ, is it self-indulgent? Yeah. Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back? No, whatever that Jay and Silent Bob
Strike Back, no, you're right. Yeah.
It's just disgusting. It's an awful film.
Yeah, it's flat out bad.
It's great for a teenager. It's a great teenager movie.
Yeah.
It's very like gross humor.
Very like Dogma in that regard. I mean, Dogma thinks it's smarter than it is, unfortunately. And it's Smith trying to grapple with really big ideas, but not getting them, not understanding them.
For every good concept in there is a bad explanation of the concept.
Yeah. Although I will go to bat for Alanis Morissette as God. I think that's hilarious.
See, I was going to go. I will just go to bat for Carlin turning up in anything. Anytime that George Carlin turns up, I'm happy. Fucking love George Carlin.
That was at his kind of like I'll be in anything stage, wasn't it? You know, if they give me a paycheck, I'll be in anything.
Yeah, because he was reaching the end of his life, and he was just making as much money as he could to make sure his family was looked after.
And there was kind of like a layer to that joke because he appears as the cardinal, doesn't he? You know, it's George Carlin as the cardinal of the Catholic Church. That's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Have you ever read up on? By the way, I'm Adam. This is George.
Hi.
This is Andy. Just in case you're wondering, we are a Warhammer podcast. And we'll get there soon. But we are Warhammer and Warhammer adjacent, so we will just go round the weeds on everything. So if this is your first episode, hold on, we'll get there.
I love the memes that have come up. I want more of those, guys. I want more Fluffen-based memes about how we never get to the subject and whatnot. Because absolutely, it's not. That's a milieu. It's a thing. It's something we do.
Yes, it's part of the brand, so to speak. But have you read about how George Carlin prepared for Bill and Ted?
No.
It's fascinating because he sits there and he works it out like a method actor does. He comes in
interesting.
because he knows that his appearance is going to create a an idea of what that character is going to be like.
Yeah, as Rufus.
And he goes out of his way to be the exact opposite of that in every conceivable way. He unlearns all of his own behaviors to create Rufus.
Oh.
And it's genuinely fascinating to me.
Yeah.
He watches his own stand-up and makes notes on how to do the reverse.
So how
in
to
order
not
to
be
Rufus.
George Carlin, effectively.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't want to come and just do the George Carlin thing.
No.
That's
Which is weird, because he's not even in Bill and Ted, the first one, that much.
No, he's not.
No. But he does such an amazing job. He is like probably one of the most recognizable parts of the film.
His presence is quite significant, isn't it? You know.
Yeah. It always fascinates me. So let's get into some nitty-gritties. So first of all, I'm going to ask a question. The question is, Andy, what have you been doing since last we recorded? Have you done any hobby? Have you had any fun? Have you experienced the highs and lows of plastic cement?
I've put together some Metaloo Shapti, which I managed to get on a minor purchase from eBay. They're not desperately easy to build. They're a little bit fiddly.
Metal, did you say?
They are metal, yes.
Oh, fun.
The thing that makes them fiddly is getting the ritual blades and arms to connect to the body, because there's no like solid connection point, so you just kind of have to hold the glue there and just be like, okay, eventually it'll dry. Yeah. And it's it's a bit gappy as well, so I had to put some milliput in there. But they're fine now. I like the look of them. I wish the bodies were a bit more dynamic. Each of the bodies really only has like a unique head, and the pose is pretty much the exact same. So it would be nice
for holding the blade thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
the
little parchment things are in the exact same shape on all of them as well. They've got skulls in different places, like hanging off them, but for the most part, they're very similar, which is a bit of a bummer. I've started painting them, but they're not done yet, and I've nearly finished the old man wizard to go along with Abaddon, the necromancer.
Yeah,
you know that one. I've nearly got him done.
Yeah, the one with the beard is that, and
yes,
is he got like a skull cap or something?
It's not a skull cap, but it's more like a red cap, but then it's got like this weird pattern on it.
And he's got a skull staff, hasn't he? Am I right?
Yeah, and the skull has these weird horns, which you're not sure if they're part of the skull or if they're just added on.
Yeah, I remember him.
Kind of a weird design.
I like the design of Necromancer.
Yeah, he's really cool. I've nearly got him finished. I just can't decide what to color his beard and mustache, because I've gone with like a blue and orange color scheme on him and with green skin. And I'm like, do I leave the beard white, or do I paint the beard a different color? I'm not quite sure. I was meaning to take a photo and send it to you guys to ask. There's a cat.
Yeah,
I haven't got
on stream.
Tail of figs.
Meow.
That's kind of cool. I do love those old Necromancer miniatures, because obviously they changed the aesthetic of Necromancers to be more kind of undeady rather than being
old crippled old man that looks lame. Yeah. I prefer like the more like they're just like a guy with weird cool robes on.
Yeah, the old ones were just wizards, weren't they? They were just almost like classic wizards, but with undead motifs around them. They themselves were not undead.
Yeah. Yeah, the last one we had, the plastic one with which is basically a decrepit necromancer vampire. I don't like that model. I think he looks really boring.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to see more variety amongst the necromancers.
Yeah. I'd just say buy the old ones or 3D print them. That's what I'd recommend.
One of the reasons they changed the aesthetics is because they changed the rules for them fundamentally at one point. When it was one of the vampire counts book, up until that point, the necromancers weren't counted as being undead like the rest of the army, because they weren't. They're alive, so they didn't benefit from the special rules, the same special rules that the rest of the undead did.
Of course.
But they changed it to streamline the playing of the army, so that you didn't have to think about, so this counts as undead, this doesn't, but it's in the same regiment, so I've got to do this, I've got to do that, So they just said it's all undead. The same is true of vampires. Do you remember this, Adam? Same
I
as
kind of do, yeah.
vampires. Once they were like semi-undead, so they had some of the rules to the undead, but not all of them. It was a bit, it was complex. It was a bit sort of like, so what do these guys do again? And
I guess technically it makes sense, but I think the easiest thing would just be to streamline it, right? And just go
exactly what they did.
Change the keyword or add a keyword. It's just they're all undead, even though they're not. They just are.
It was the same for the ghouls. Remember when the ghouls were part of the undead army?
Yeah, because ghouls aren't undead
they're
technically.
Not dead. Yeah, if they're not undead, they're alive, aren't they? They're just degenerate. They've transformed into monsters. So they also were alive. They didn't have the same, like they weren't unbreakable like skeleton regiments were or zombie regiments were. And they didn't have the same vulnerabilities that undead things did, which is kind of interesting. But again, it's a pain in the arse. You've got to sit there and like, oh. It was also true, like if you had undead characters on not undead steeds.
Oh yeah.
So you'd be sort of like, so the manticore can break, but the vampire can't. And
it's too much faff.
It's faff. It is. It's faff. It's absolute faff. So they changed it. They were like, no, it's all undead. It all has the same rules. And even if technically the necromancers and the ghouls aren't, they kind of are.
Yeah, just for the sake of easiness. It just makes sense.
To be fair, it's way better that way. It's just so much easier to play.
Yeah, like doing it the way that you mentioned sounds like a very early edition kind of role play kind of way.
The first Undead Army book, the first what's Adam got there? Oh, that's the Warhammer Armies book. Yeah, that's the original. I mean, like when they had the first actual book for Warhammer Armies Undead, which defined all the rules. That's where it was. You had I think it was a 2-page spread of what counted as undead and what being undead meant for this unit and for that unit and for.
I think that would work better in a video game, in a board game where you've got to look at books and books for rules and have a lot of things going in your mind, when that stuff could just work in the background for a video game and work a little bit smoother.
Exactly. It can just be, it can just happen mechanically, right? Whereas you had to essentially stop sometimes and figure out, so what does this mean? Can this unit march, for example, which a lot of undead regiments couldn't back then? Can they do this? Are they vulnerable to this because this is holy magic? It's a pain.
Yeah, because what if you had cavalry, but so undead cavalry, but all the skeletons were obviously skeletons, but all the steeds were alive.
Right.
How would that work?
So the steeds would be able to break and would be able to march, but
they wouldn't be affected by holy damage.
Right. It's a freaking nightmare. It was a complete freaking nightmare. So they had to, and also, of course, there were loads of spells that only applied to undead units, right? So things like Van Hel's Dance Macabre, which has been here since forever, that only applied to units that were true undead. So things like zombies and skeletons and whatnot, not to ghouls. I don't think it applied. Do you remember? These have gone way, like the way of the dodo. Do you remember the Carrion Riders?
Oh, yes.
They were not true undead either.
No.
The birds, the sort of scabrous giant birds, which were Nazgul. They were just Nazgul, weren't they? They were effectively just Nazgul in Warhammer.
Yes.
They were not true undead either. So they were not affected by all this garbage, or they were affected by certain things that undead would. Freaking nightmare. There was a period of Warhammer where it was like, let's make it more complex. Let's make it a headache for everyone.
But it's one of the funny things, and I find this whenever I go through the Warhammer Armies book for Third Ed, is that what's complicated is the base rule set.
Yeah.
The actual army lists and everything are
quite simple, aren't they? Yeah. They're quite simple until you get the book. They're like the big army book, then it starts to get complicated.
Oh yes, I mean I'm not going to hunt it down now, but in the in this big old monster, there is an entire section dedicated to undead.
Yeah, there would be, because their entire everything, their psychology rules were completely different, weren't they?
Yep,
Completely different.
Trying to find. This was owned, by the way, once by a J Topping of Preston. So if J Topping hears me, then I have your book.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
You can't have it back. No. It's mine now.
I mean, I remember this with things like demons in Chaos Armies. They had to have like entire sections dedicated to their own psychology because their psychology was different. So they had different psychology rules. What affected them versus what didn't. Yeah. Certain forms of undead, of course, like the ghosts and things, they had to have their own special rules as well. Because like only magic weapons would affect them. So only the attacks from certain units would count as magical, so like demons could hurt them because they're magical creatures.
Yeah.
Enchanted swords could hurt them, but non-enchanted swords couldn't.
It all just gets a bit much. A bit much.
It does get a little bit crazy.
Has Andy been up to anything else this week?
Daffod's so right. Daffod, yeah. Always liked how mummies were a terrifying unit on the battlefield unless you had a flaming weapon. Yeah. Because you could literally set mummies on fire.
Yep. And they would burn through each other because they were desiccated.
Yeah. But they were terrifying. I mean, if you didn't have flaming weapons, they were nightmares.
Mm-hmm.
So if you beat like a unit of mummies on the battlefield and you're like setting up camp for the night, would you just use them as tinder?
You could, I suppose. Yeah, they'd better be good, wouldn't they? They'd go up a tree.
Yeah.
Well, what are you doing, Vashtag the Unmentionable? I'm just burning mummies. Ah, excellent. I'll get the marshmallows.
I just like the fact that back then mummies were a regiment. Instead of being, because they made them into characters later. Obviously, you could only take mummies as characters a little later, which made more sense. But you had like a block of mummies in the original Undead book.
Yeah, because a mummy's just an Egyptian zombie, really.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
But they were just a little bit stronger. No.
They were nasty actually, because you could also take things like mummy lords and like they had like hierarchies of mummies. And some of them were very nasty indeed.
As somebody who had to do a lot of parent groups just after COVID, I agree.
Hey.
Herds of mummies are terrifying. Has Andy been up to anything else?
No, that's been about it, to be honest, Warhammer-wise.
Okay. And George, what have you been up to?
Oh, guess.
Let me guess. Let me guess. I'm going to take a random stab in the dark. You've decided to completely change everything that you've been doing, and you've gone for a Fire Slayer army for AOS.
Oh wow, that'd be ballsy,
wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? That would change the entire timbre of this, like the entire podcast and everything, wouldn't it? No.
You'd literally be their only advocate.
Yeah, I know, right? And there's an appeal in that, I've got to say. Yeah. There is an appeal in being that one guy who turns
Fire Slayers are actually really good. Let me tell you why. Top 10 reasons why Fire Slayers are the best.
Yeah, that guy exists. You know that guy exists, right? That guy absolutely exists. No, I've been mucking about with the Emperor's Children, haven't I? That's what I've been doing. I've been mucking about with the bloody Emperor's Children, and I still haven't...
Have you got everything built?
No, because every miniature's been customized. Every single miniature. My whole thing with this project is because you can do it with these guys. Every single one's going to be unique. They're all going to be like little characters. I finished building my unit of Tormentors, so I've got Infractors, sorry, the close combat guys. So I've got a nice unit of them now with a Lord Exultant at the center of them, leading them. They're looking great. I'm so pleased with them. I've never.
How much you got left until you've done all of them?
Loads. I've got loads of stuff to do. I've got 2 more units of Noise Marines. I've got another Lord Exultant to put together. I've got to finish Fulgrim. Are
you over halfway through? Or like what percentage would you say you're at?
nowhere near. This is going to be this is probably going to be my biggest army, alongside the Death Guard. Thanks to you, Andy. You know,
so you're on like 10%, 20%,
maybe.
Okay,
okay. It depends on where it goes. You know, I mean, I've got all the stuff from the Leviathan box set, the Terminators that I want to customize to make into Slanesh Terminators. There's at least 3 units worth of Terminators there. So there's all the stuff from the Veterans of the Long War Chaos Space Marine box set that I want to turn into Infractors and Tormentors and more Terminators. So there's a lot to do here. There's a lot of work, but it is a project that's really fascinating me at the moment, and it's taking. I haven't lost the impetus for it, which is really, really nice. Fulgrim's got to be finished, obviously. One more Flawless Blade I need to do to get a full squad of 6, and that will be coming along relatively shortly. There's a lot of stuff.
Have you considered doing one of the Terminators, but without any armor on his legs, so it looks like he's got assless chaps?
Yeah, that would look really funny, wouldn't it? Because he'd be so top heavy.
Yep,
it'd be Johnny Bravo.
So top heavy, right?
Johnny Bravo, yeah.
Which again would fit the theme, right?
Hey, baby, his name's Brother B. You want to come spend the night with me? Oh, mama.
Yeah, there's a lot to do with this one, but it's fun. I'm really diving deep into this project because it's been how long since we started the Fluffenhammer?
8 years.
Yeah, it's been 8 years in build up, in impetus. So yeah, it'll get there. It'll get there.
Yeah,
slowly but surely. I need to get Lucius. He's the only thing I haven't got from the new range. Need to get Lucius because he's ace.
Well, that could be your reward. Once you've got all the everything that you've got all finished, your reward is you get Lucius.
Getting Lucius and painting him up, yeah.
That's not the Warhammer way. You're meant to just buy things and put them in a box or a shelf and then never get around to them.
That's exactly it.
No, I refuse to do that. I can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly because I know myself far too well, and so I won't let myself do it.
I've done a little bit more to my Thousand Sons as well. I put together another squad of Rubric Marines, which have got all Warp Flamers because they're lovely in the new Codex. Oh my god, Rubric with Warp Flamers.
We should all just rent out a church hall at some point and just meet up and have a massive 3-way 40k battle.
That would be fun, wouldn't it? That would be great fun. I mean, when I finish my Chaos armies, because I'm going to have an Emperor's Children army. I'm going to have a Death Guard army that's pretty bloody sizable, and a Thousand Sons army. It'd be great to get some people together and have a 3-way Chaos match or something. That'd be great fun.
Ah, that would be good.
At the moment, the Death Guard would win. Let's be honest. At the moment, the Death Guard would win.
You say that, but I've got Vashtor. So.
Who's had a bit of a glow up?
Yes, Vashtor is in a really good place at the moment.
He's cool at the moment. He's a monster.
Mm-hmm. I like Vashtor. I like Vashtor a lot.
You can very much do that detachment in the Chaos Space Marine Codex that's based around him, where it's all demon engines. Yeah, that is a really good detachment now because Vashtor's really good.
Yep.
As is the Disco Lord, the Lord Discordant. He's had a bit of a glow up too, so he's very nice as well.
I like the idea of Vashtor and a load of demon princes and demon engines.
I mean, it's very viable now. It's very viable with a few warp smiths scattered about in there and obliterators backing them up. Yeah, nasty.
Has anyone ever done that army but themed around Thomas the Tank Engine?
Oh, someone's got to have done something like that.
Yes.
Using only defilers and then putting them in as Thomas the Tank Engine things, and then using the warp smiths as the fat controller, etc. Yeah.
He's known as the magic controller now.
It's a Topham hat.
Sorry, he's called the what?
The magic controller.
He's fat. Nice, fat control.
Didn't they go through a period of just using his name? It was Sir Topham Hat.
Sir Topham Hat, yes. The current Thomas the Tank Engine CGI series, which is...
Ew.
Yeah.
No.
Not interested.
No.
It's yikes. Yeah. There's all right, so Thomas travels. I know we are getting to Warhammer, I promise. Thomas travels the world and goes to different countries, but he's
not
a
on the
train.
island of Sodor anymore.
No.
He's
Yeah,
a train.
how does he go around the world?
He's a train.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't
Oh
understand.
my God.
But yeah, there's one where he's like in Australia, and all the Australian trains making fun of him, and then they accidentally kill a couple of people because they make the joke.
Oh my God.
Well,
this show?
But Thomas crashes, and you don't see all the people get out the trains. You're like, oh well, they're dead. Yeah, it's a really weird experience. But there is a movie that came out with it, which is called Calling All Engines, and I swear to God, the Avengers has nothing on it. Because a load of crates fall over and the cranes can't reach the crates, and there's going to be a crash, and so they call all engines, and you just have this most triumphant rock version of the Thomas the Tank Engine theme as all the engines start flying along. What have I taken by accident? Because this is not real.
I always loved how the original show hated like diesel trains. It really hated them. You had Diesel, obviously, who was a twat, just from the get-go, just an asshole, right? Mm-hmm. And even like the other diesel engines that weren't quite as bad were also awful.
Yeah, they're all like high school.
Daisy was a really nasty character, if I remember.
Yep.
Bobo, the diesel engine, he was a twat when he turned up as
I'm going to cut you. I'm a diesel engine. Oh.
He was like that, wasn't he? Diesel was a real, like, nasty piece of work, right?
He was.
If I remember quite, didn't he have like this very kind of nasal voice?
Mm-hmm. He sounded like the type of person that you didn't want to owe money to in a pub.
Yes, yeah, that was the vibe, wasn't it? That was the vibe around Diesel.
It's a nice pub you got here. I hope nothing happens to it. You know what I mean? Looks like you got some dry wood. Oh, go up and treat that wood. You got to be careful.
It was fine with everything else, you know. You had helicopters and you had traction engines and more, and they were fine, buses and things. But the diesel engine, no, it hated them.
Well, this is what happens when you give sentience to a goddamn train golem.
Yeah.
These things gain personalities. Next thing you know, you're up to your knees in sentient trains, and they're not going to be very happy because they can only go one way, forwards.
There is a real dark reading of the original Thomas show, which is, they're indentured slaves effectively,
Absolutely,
they were the show. The thing that the greatest compliment that they're ever paid is that you're a really useful engine.
Yes.
And they're all terrified of not being useful. Because what happens when you're not useful, right?
Get bricked up and left to die.
You get left to die. You go on the scrap heap, right? It's kind of... Yeah, there is a really kind of dark and unpleasant thing about the world of the engines.
Mm-hmm.
Where they're just left to rot when they're not useful anymore. It's like, oh, okay.
Tell you what, start doing a reading of Thomas the Tank Engine where the controller is a AdMech, and suddenly a lot makes sense.
Suddenly, yes. It's some weird world in the Imperium. That's the island of Sodor, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
So, myself, what have I been up to? Not a huge amount. I have finished making a tank. An orc tank,
ooh, nice.
Which has been built out of leftover parts from a Death Dread and what was it called? You used to get these bits of scenery for 40k years ago, and it was like a little train tractor thing and a great big crane.
Mm-hmm.
So I had them left over, so I used parts of them, and I've made myself a really cool one-man tank, which hasn't got a name for it yet. I'm going to have to think of a name for him. But he is going to go with my Paul Bonner styled orcs.
Brilliant.
Which I've now got a decent amount of. So I'm really happy with how my little orcs are going. So I've got a decent.
Is this for 40k? Is it, Adam?
Yeah. So second ed 40k.
Very nice.
The long idea is to have a full old Hammer army based on the works of Paul Bonner.
Oh, fab! Have you got like Garskull yet?
I've got a Garskull. He is based on the front. No. Hang on.
It's a 3D printed one.
Oh, okay.
So how about a Gazgul tracker that is based on the front of the second Ed 40k rulebook?
Oh, so nice. Yes.
Even though you can barely see it, it does look good in person.
It does. It looks great. I mean, from what I can see, it does look like the artwork.
Yeah, just see if I can get it focused in a little bit.
I mean, you'd need lighting as well, to be fair, if you wanted it to show up, to be honest.
Yeah, it's unfortunately this room is quite dark.
I mean, I must say, I like mini Garskull from Second Ed.
Yeah.
Tiny little Garskull.
Well, he's got a massive face.
He's got a huge head. Yeah, it's just his body is
massive.
tiny. His body's tiny compared to all the other orcs.
Mm-hmm. So that's the idea. It is to make a second Ed 40k army that is based on basically the artwork of the time.
Fantastic. Oh, that's a nice idea. That, like, the cover art and whatnot.
Yep.
Lovely
so,
idea.
Going back through Wily Orcs and all that type of area. So yeah, we've got a unit of boys. Got a weird boy. A weird boy and his minders, because the weird boy needs to have minders. That's the rogue trader way.
I loved that in Second Ed and Rogue Trader, where the weird boy sometimes runs away.
Yep. And you got the minders with sticks to beat him with. Yep.
It's not the best state of affairs for an orc, is it? Being a psyker. Not in that edition, it's not.
No,
your head is liable to explode, isn't it?
Yeah. Which is something that I don't think happens as much now, does it? Weird boys aren't like...
It does happen, but it's not the same. No, it's not quite as volatile as it used to be.
Well, weird boys are kind of with respect for a lot of ways.
Yeah, they're shamans now. They're like shamans of the clans,
Mm-hmm. But it used to be that if a weird boy... If an orc turned into a weird boy, you would be dragged along with chains and beaten with sticks until you made weird things happen. Yeah,
it was a thing of disgrace, wasn't it? The only reason they kept you around is because you were useful as a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying a weird boy is Sam Neill in The Mouth of Madness?
Kind of.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did I ever tell you my favourite colour was green?
No.
Sorry about the balls.
I'm losing me. Yeah, that is pretty much all I've really been done. However, I actually got a game in on Thursday.
Woo, right.
So got a game of Age of Sigmar in with my long-suffering opponent Ben.
Is this with your Skaven?
Yeah. So we played 1,000 points force. So a little bit smaller than wouldn't usually play, but we only had like 3 hours of spare time, so it was like get a game in as quickly as we can. And it was the first time that I haven't just completely wiped his Stormcast out.
That's good.
Which is good, because the last time I played him, I felt so guilty about how dirty that army list was. It was like...
Was it due to the reduction in points, do you think? Or was it just that Ben played better, you didn't get the dice rolls? What do you think it was?
I think it was a mix of things. I think the Stormcast have had a little bit of a push with points values and things, so they're in a slightly better place, because, to be fair, at the launch of this, the Stormcast were getting absolutely...
They did, didn't they? They got hammered. They got absolutely hammered, didn't they? Because they did that sort of like global event where they took the stats of battle from across the world, and it wasn't even close. It wasn't even funny, The Skaven steamrolled them, like absolutely steamrolled them.
And the Skaven are a massive glass cannon. Once they get into combat, especially against something like the Stormcast, they are going to start dropping like flies.
Oh yeah, they've got no staying power at all.
No. They're good at objective holders, because you can bring Skaven back each turn and stuff like that. So they're really good at doing that. But my army is a skirry army. So a lot of it is grab objectives with the fast-moving Skaven and Gracie skitterleaping, whilst the warp cannons, Jezzails, and what's the other one I've got? The rattling guns pepper the army from afar throughout the entire army. The Doom Wheel then gets to behind the army and then just rolls over them constantly.
Yeah, Stormcast are really difficult because they don't really have an answer to like a skirry army, not a solid one.
No, they don't. So having that smaller army meant I couldn't take as many war machines. So I was more reliant on getting objectives and skitter leaping around the arm, the everything like that. So
which annoyingly Skaven are also good at.
Yes, very, very good at. But the army that Ben brought was all dragon based. So he was all over the place, just burning everything constantly. So it's like, but even so, I mean, it got down to like half a unit and a character each. That's we tore each other apart. You know.
So you could have tabled one another. That's brilliant.
Oh yeah, very, very easily. You know, if it had been another turn, I don't think anything would have been on the table. I think it would have been down to the last model standing.
Fantastic! I love it when that happens.
It was an amazing game, like absolutely brilliant. Dice either went completely my way or not at all. My one warp lightning cannon blew up. It managed to shoot and take one wound off a dragon and then blew up. It was like, oh
my
shit.
God, no!
My bombardier fired his rocket and like managed to take out an entire unit and then blew himself up. It was just like that the entire time, and then
Fantastic.
I was getting dragon breath right to the face. It was an amazing game. Yep. It's like Ben was like, "Have I done it? Have I won?" It's like almost. I'm gonna kick the shit out of your main general.
It came down to points in the end, then, yeah.
Yeah. It came down to points because it was genuinely so close, and there was only like 2 points in it. You know, it was
that's great.
So close.
It's always the most fun, isn't it?
I loved it. Absolutely loved it. It was really good. We're hoping that there's going to continue to be a little bit of time on a Thursday where we can just get a game in once, maybe twice a month. Yep. So that was really good. Right then, shall we get on to this issue's main topic?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, this week, this month, whatever, this episode, that's the word I'm after, we're going to be looking back at 1996's Warhammer Armies, The Dogs of War, because it is constantly in my brain. It will not leave my brain alone, so I'm hoping this is going to exercise it a little bit. But also, it's tons of fun.
It is tons of fun. I mean, like, it defined an era, didn't it?
100%, yeah. I mean, this is what the late 90s fantasy battle looked like. Yeah, it's that point where you've still got the bright saturation of the 4th ed.
Yeah.
But you're starting to see the models changing and moving into that more boots in dirt style that fantasy battle would become in the 2000s.
Yeah, it was a very interesting period. For a while, like every issue of White Dwarf had a new Dogs of War regiment in it. And it was like, as we were saying off screen, it was kind of one of the first times that they brought back the old mercenary systems. They were always there. There's always been a system for including mercenaries in armies in Warhammer. But they kind of fell off after the first few editions. And they were kind of like bolted on, weren't they? They weren't very functional or particularly good, for that matter.
No.
But then the Dogs of War came along, and it became like a mini game in and of itself. It became a new part of army building.
Yeah, there's so much in what the Dogs of War achieves as a concept, as an idea of how can a different army work. Yeah, something that is not just because you don't have a points value for a Dogs of War army.
Right.
You have a treasure chest.
You hire them, don't you? You literally pay them. You hire them.
Yeah. And it's just a really fun way of bringing back a lot of older regiments of renown.
Yeah, stuff that people had a real attachment to from older editions, yeah?
Yeah, and I think that's a lot of what they were trying to do with 5th Ed, was try to reconnect with the people who 4th Ed lost. Because 4th Ed, as much as I love 4th Ed, it is a huge, complicated game, but it is that was my first true Warhammer game. You know, it wasn't just playing my cousins in 3rd. This was my game. This was my rules.
Yeah,
I owned the books. But I think a lot of people who were into 3rd Ed kind of dropped out because it became too solidified in a lot
became
of ways.
it became quite standardized, didn't it? After
Yeah,
the third edge, you know, that was the point at which the game systems were becoming much more like defined in terms of the way they worked, and army making was much more regimented
yes,
than it used to be. It was a bit free for all in the previous editions. You had to have a games
absolutely.
master, and you know, it was a bit looser, wasn't it? You know, points values were there, but they weren't that important in third ed, really. You know,
No.
this was the point where it became more serious, I suppose. You know,
And so what they did with a lot of fifth ed was try to reconnect to a lot of the older concepts from third to try and bring back, and they got really experimental. Which by the time you get into fifth, sixth, and seventh, that goes away completely.
They do evolve fast, don't they? It's really weird. Like at this point, they're experimenting wildly. I mean, this whole concept, the Dogs of War, was a massive experiment. They kind of threw it out in White Dwarf as an article to see if it would, you know, if it would catch. And clearly it did. Clearly it did, because for a couple of years after, there was always a new regiment.
Yeah, I mean, the Dogs of War it goes on for a huge amount of time. You know, you get into Dark Shadows and a lot of the stuff that comes out of that. Whenever there was a campaign, there would be Dogs of War.
Yeah.
Stuff that came with it. You know, it's absolutely fascinating to kind of go back and sort of see the evolution that this concept takes, and we still kind of have it now. I think they're still called Regiments of Renown, I think. But you have these little box sets that have things like some ogroids and they're not purpose built, but there are rules for them, and you can get them into any army almost.
It's kind of like the prototype for what they do with like the underworld stuff and the you know, the regiments they throw out for the smaller games, which they then include in AOS. This is kind of like the prototype for that.
So, did you guys own Dogs of War back in the day?
Oh yeah, I had the book. It was at a time as well when, you know, my focus was almost exclusively on 40k, but this was so interesting. It was something that really kind of gave the fantasy setting a bit of verve and a bit of vigor, and because every unit was a character. That's the weird thing about the Dogs of War. It's not like normal Warhammer armies where you've got like faceless blocks of, you know, troops and whatnot. Every single unit you take in this army is a character.
Yeah.
With their own special rules and their own ways of working and their own ethos and whatnot. And okay, that made for some wild and wacky and unwieldy armies. And I'm not sure it ever truly held together as a serious army. But that was kind of the point. It was fun, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing about the Dogs of War was that it was fun. It was engaging on a hobby level, because the miniatures are all... that's the other thing they were doing with it. It was experimenting with the miniatures.
Well, it's experimenting with the miniatures, and I am convinced that two things are in place here to make Dogs of War happen. One is that a lot of the people behind the scenes were wanting to get into Warhammer Historical, which I can't remember if it was just before or just after this, but there's definitely a Venn diagram of this, and the release for Warhammer Historical is basically a circle.
Oh, you know, because I mean, like you only have to look at the miniatures themselves, and some of them would fit into historical miniatures armies. The Marksmen of Miragliano, absolutely, you could fit them into certain historical armies. You know, what others have you got? The Al-Qatani Fellowship, yes. I mean, they look like historical miniatures. They just look like historical miniatures that have been transported over to Warhammer.
Well, this was written by Nigel Stillman, Rick Priestley, and Thomas Purian. I always feel like you get Thomas's name wrong. Purian. Yeah. Anyway,
yeah.
Purian. I'm sorry. The man's like really, really interesting and fascinating, and he does so much.
He does. I mean, I sort of like latched onto his name because he was involved very heavily with rewriting some of the armies in Warhammer 4. Was it 4th or 5th edition? And he did
be 5th.
5th, wasn't it? Yeah, spectacular job.
Oh yeah. And the guy, you know, one of the main rules writers for Mordheim. The guy is like prolific. He's done so much over the years. But all three of them were the guys working on Warhammer Historical.
Of course. So this was a very clever way of sort of bringing people into both game systems, wasn't it? Creating kind of overlap, yeah?
Yeah, I think so. I genuinely think so. But also, this is where John Blanche's the art design studio starts experimenting a lot more with what they can and can't do. And you see it with a lot of the art in this book.
Yeah.
There's pictures that Blanche has done, which is you can see the beginnings of Dreadfleet. You can see the beginnings of Battlefleet Gothic. There's so much stuff in here that isn't just here's the Warhammer art, which sounds really like I'm being detrimental to Warhammer art before this, which I'm not at all. But it's not the genuinely... what we always got was, here is a guy getting ready to fight, or here is a guy running around and doing battle. Yeah, there's little bits in here of guys who are just standing. And they're just
doing stuff, which fits. It fits so well with the ethos of the book, because these guys are mercenaries, and each of them has their own histories and their own backstories. So you get to know them as characters, not just as war game pieces. And I think that's part of the big draw of the army, to be honest. It means you can put a lot of time and effort into each individual unit.
Yeah. This is, even though there were models out there, this is a customizer's dream. The ability to just...
This is it, isn't it? This is it. This army, you can go absolutely wild with this army, and because each regiment has its own very distinct aesthetics and style, wow, you can go nuts.
Yeah. Andy, did you have this book way back then? I know you've got it now, but did you have it back in the day?
I did. I had this book, and I had the Marksman as well.
Oh, wow.
Oh, the Marksman of
Maragliano.
Yeah, I don't know how many I had, but I'm pretty sure I had them. What? What? It's just clocked you. I'm glad you're here. What? Yeah, I don't think I had anybody else. Yeah, no? I don't think I had anybody else, but I think I had just that. I wanted more, obviously, but this came right at the end, and they seemed to vanish quite quickly.
They did. There was like a transition. I imagine they had one of those things where somebody at Games Workshop in the upper echelons was like, right, we're taking everything in a new direction now, and this just doesn't fit anymore. So
you know what they're comparable to? They're comparable to the last wave of a Transformers wave, where it's like, good luck getting it.
Yeah.
That's such a good, one-to-one.
Yeah,
I know. I'm with you. I'm 100% with you.
It's probably a good reason why they're such a bitch to get now. If you want them,
Daffod's just said it. He's I used Vespero's Vendetta. I got to use vampires in a Vampire Counts army, and for more time, everybody did that. Everybody got Vespero because he was such a cool miniature. He looked like the Phantom of the Opera with a sword. He had the skull face and everything. But he made such a bloody good vampire and assassin, and you could use him in like an Empire army as like a count, an Elector count or something like that. He was such a cool, diverse miniature.
And honestly, I love this book. I love it so much. So which ones then, and this is for everybody, including you in chat, which ones did you want? Which ones were the ones that you really, really wanted, but never got?
All of them.
Oh, that's a fair point, actually.
There are some of the like generic miniatures, which because it is an army largely of regiments of renown, but there were also like generic characters you could take to bulk it out. The Mercenary General, that miniature is fantastic. I think barring things like the thickness of the sword, he would fit really well in a present day, like Cities of Sigmar army.
Yeah.
Well, design-wise, certainly, yeah.
He's gorgeous. The head, I mean, this was an era when they often found doing like human faces rather difficult. A lot of human scale miniatures are quite and not that great at this era.
Massive heads.
Yeah, he looks great. Like the face is really characterful, and it looks proportionate and correct.
Was he painted here in non-metallic gold? Because it doesn't look like they've used gold. It looks like they've painted it to look like it is.
No, those are metallics. What they've done, yeah, it is metallic. What they've done is it's a black base coat, and then they've dry brushed on whatever the equivalent of like the bronze color was. Then they've done a layer of gold, and then for the raised areas, they've painted over it with mithril silver. I think it is.
Okay.
And it looks like non-metal, but that is because this was before that was even a thing.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking it was a bit strange.
Yeah, but it looks great, doesn't it? It's a really cool way of painting metal, like burnished metal. Yeah.
Although saying that, I am convinced the heavy metal team would have been doing non-metallic metals at this point and just not telling anyone.
Just not telling anybody about it. How to do it, yeah.
Bastards. No, just use 3 colors and you can get these effects.
Oh,
liar.
That's a whole episode, guys, by the way. The fucking bloody paint schemes they used to give you in White Dwarf. It's like, if you do this, just follow these steps, you can look, the miniature will look like this, and they've got the heavy metal miniature there. And it's like, even as a kid, I knew, no, it doesn't. That's garbage. That's absolute garbage. If you use that paint scheme, it might look okay, it might look fine, but it won't look like that.
All right. Tell you what, then, at some point we'll do that as an episode, and I will dig up every single painting guide from the 90s that I can find.
Absolutely.
The 90s.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you just meant every painting guide. I was like, that's a lot.
No. I know I've got problems, but I don't have that many problems. Limit myself, goddammit.
Yeah. I mean, Daffeth has just said about the Belladonna miniature. The smoothness of some of the paint on her robes and it's really cool, isn't it?
I bet she was used as a vampire as well, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god, yes. She's just got the vibe, doesn't she? As Alarmian vampire, right?
Mm-hmm.
I
You
wonder
get away
if
with that now, quite frankly.
That horse will have been plastic
Yeah.
Or is it? Hang on.
The body maybe was plastic. Maybe the head was metal head. Because I'm pretty sure the mercenary general's horse's body is plastic, and then the head for it is metal. I'm sure about that.
It is.
Yeah, the mercenary general has the
generic sort of horse body from the Empire sets. Yeah.
And I think that's a Bretonian horse body, so that is plastic because it's got the grass that attaches to the hoof, metal head. Yep, you're absolutely right. So that would be really easy to turn that into some kind of weird.
I'm not sure about Belladonna though. I'm not sure about Belladonna. I think she was like, in only like 1 or 2 pieces. She was a very simple miniature to put together. I think she's all metal.
Yeah, she will be. She'll definitely be.
Yeah.
I love the fact she's riding side saddle as well.
Yeah.
Isn't that cool? I only just noticed that detail.
I wonder if Saul has the Dogs of War stuff. Talk amongst yourselves.
Who? Saul.
Saul.
Son?
No, the Stuff of Legends, which is a archive site for every mail order page.
Oh. I guess they probably would.
Yeah.
Do you have any of these then, George, or not while Gruff's looking for stuff?
Say again, Andy.
Did you have any of these, or would you have been
them, yeah, I mean, some of them, I can't remember which ones, but some of them were given away free on the cover of White Dwarf, when it was first getting going. And I think I had some of them I just randomly picked them up. I definitely had Lucrezia from somewhere. God knows how or where or why I picked up, but I remember having her. And I also had, I had Vespero. I had Vespero because I just love the miniature of him. I really wanted, it's just because it was a dragon. Looking at it now, I'm not that impressed by it, but I wanted Asanil, the Dragon Lord, Looking at it now, it's not the best of these serpentine dragons, and the rider's goddamn awful. It is bad, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not.
It's not the best. It's not the best. I mean, the face.
I think it's very standard. I'd say it's very standard for the time.
I will say I like it because it is that type of dragon that I loved a bit, but I can also understand why people wouldn't.
The old-fashioned serpentine dragon. I kind of loved those, I must admit, because they were so distinct. You know, you knew a Warhammer dragon when you saw it.
Yes, yeah. And they
interesting enough that there's no coloured images of Vespro's unit in this book.
No, there isn't. I mean, maybe it came out later because that did happen.
I'm guessing so. Yeah.
You know, my guess is they were released later on. I just remember the miniature being so ubiquitous. You know, it being absolutely everywhere. And of course, I mean, like, one of the other things is you could only take these guys in certain types of army because they would only serve in certain types of army. So, you know, some of them, obviously, many of them wouldn't serve in the armies of chaos.
Yeah, for good reason.
For damn good reason. Yeah, absolutely. There was one, there's the Bear Men, which is actually one of my least favorite of the units.
I mean, to be fair, the Bearmen are just marauders.
They're just
to
marauders,
be fair,
yeah, it's almost like a generic marauders unit, isn't it? You could absolutely just fit them into any chaos army of the era as a unit of marauders, and you'd be fine. They're a bit. I mean, even for this era, though, they're a bit retrograde, aren't they? They're like the one-piece plastic miniatures that you were getting through the previous edition.
I think they were metal as well.
They were metal, yeah. These guys.
Yeah, and they're only in one pose. Yep. Like, they're 3 warriors that are in one pose. I like the standard bearer. Yep. I think he looks good. I never liked the what's his name, the bear dude. I thought he looked weird. One, he didn't really look like a bear.
Nope.
No, he looks like a wolf.
Yeah, it was a mistake putting him in a regiment. It was a mistake putting him in a regiment, wasn't it? He should have been a big miniature. He should have been a big monster. Yeah. Obviously,
I would have made him just like a big, huge Scottish-looking dude with a big bear hat on.
Yeah, like with feral qualities about him, maybe. Something like that, like a huge axe and whatnot. That would have worked. That would have worked really well. Although that kind of thing is more of a Sigmar thing than it was a Warhammer Fantasy Battle thing back then, you know.
Look at that. So Luciana was one-piece metal. The head is one-piece metal. The horse bodies are plastic. Same with the mercenary general.
Right.
Yep, thought so.
Interesting.
Not surprised.
Very
As was the style of the time.
Yep. As was the style of the time.
It's just such a fascinating army to put together as well. I mean, like, I imagine they waited until it had built up impetus in White Dwarf before they decided to put it together as an actual army. But when they did, obviously, I mean, even choosing the army, as I said, it's not points based. It's you have to pay for the units from your coffers. It's awesome. Yep. What a great idea! There's a role-playing element to the army, which I really like.
Just because I was looking at that when you were talking about the Bearman, I have a question about Bearman, and that's how do you pronounce his name? Is he Bearstruck or is he Bear's Truck?
Bearstruck. It's Bearstruck because that's his curse, isn't it? You know, he's based on Beorn from The Hobbit.
Yes, yeah, but
clearly based on Beorn from The Hobbit. You know?
I have never ever been able to read it as anything other than Bear's Truck.
Bear's Truck, yeah, but a bit different. That kind of suggests a slightly different style of regiment.
We've all seen the Bang Taxi. Now it's the Bear's Truck.
Bear's exclamation mark truck exclamation mark.
Yeah. I may be wrong in this, but didn't like Long Drong Slayer's pirates stick around much longer than all the other regiments? Weren't they in like the dwarf book? The dwarf books that came later.
Yeah, they stuck around for about another 2 editions.
I thought they did. Because I remember hearing about them like in the pages of White Dwarf and seeing these miniatures quite a lot.
You can get a new box of them for about £90 on eBay or more.
Ouch.
Probably more, to be honest.
They're great minis. They're great dwarf minis from the era. They're really, I mean, each one is like basically a character, aren't they? Each one is distinct.
I mean, you look at Long Dong and you think he could have easily been used for like Warhammer Quest.
Yes. Oh God, yeah, absolutely.
But it's funny because that's exactly what I was about to say. That what you've got here is the pinnacle for me for what a dwarf is in Warhammer. They got the style right because these dwarfs have knees. Before this, dwarfs didn't have knees.
Right. Okay.
The body of a dwarf didn't make a huge amount of sense, and after this, when they go back and redo the dwarf lines, they go back again and they remove the knees from the dwarfs, and it's infuriating. Now, I'm being slightly facetious here. What it is because of the shortness of them, the dwarfs have a tendency of having basically nothing but thigh. And then feet in the end.
That's because the tunic usually goes down to their knee or past their knees, right?
The beard,
exactly.
Right? Sometimes even beard covers that area,
Yeah. So as a result, you have these weird little waddling guys that don't look like they can bend their legs. It's always been something that genuinely upsets me. And Long Drong and Warhammer Quest gave them knees.
And also really distinct beards. The way they've characterized each of the miniatures is by making the style of beard on every one completely different.
Yeah, completely. The same with One Quest, same with Talisman. Whoever was doing the dwarfs at this point, they got dwarfs. They got it exactly right.
Yeah. They're lovely. They really are lovely. And Long Drong himself, he looks like a joy to paint, you know?
Oh, I would break a man's arm to get one.
I guess the only thing, if you wanted to throw out, we complained about the bear men all being in one pose.
Same
These
pose,
are as well, but there's a bit more variety because one's holding a little bottle, one's got a knife in his mouth, the other's got a knife and a gun. So even though they are effectively the same pose, they're different enough.
Miniatures, aren't they? You know, they're different to the point whereby they do look like distinct people or distinct characters. I mean, that's sadly one of the problems of designing miniatures for this era, wasn't it? Because you had to put them together in regiments, so they were so restricted in how
because
they could be posed,
we weren't using the 20 millimeter bases then. We were using the much smaller ones. Was it 10 or 15?
Yeah. So if it was always a son of a bitch when you were doing a Warhammer army. If you had the miniature just off a little, or if they had something sticking out, then suddenly they couldn't go in a regiment anymore. And it's like, oh, for God's sake.
Or you'd need to finagle them around a tray to get them in the perfect spot where they wouldn't bump into anything else.
A nightmare.
Yeah. It's why, as much as I love the multi-part Chaos Warrior kit that came out for Warhammer Fantasy way back in the day, that if you got a single piece of that not lined up, you had to check every single one to make sure it lined up when you built it.
Miniature, every single one, and it just wasn't very chaotic, was it? You know.
But no, and that's nothing compared to the joys of a 3rd edition Skaven army, where oh god. There's no answer to that question other than what they did later, which is expand the base size out. That fixed it. That has done an amazing job of fixing it in later editions and in the old world. But at this point, there was no answer to it, and it drove you insane because you either had them all in a unified pose or you couldn't get them into a regiment.
Yeah. And if you were doing that thing of customizing everything, which is what I used to do and still do, you had to think about it when you're doing a fantasy battle army, because you had to think about, okay, well, I'm gonna put like a mutation or an extrusion or something on this miniature, but it's got to fit somewhere.
Yep, it's got to be on the front.
Regiment, you know, he's got to be on the front or on a corner or something.
Nah.
Yeah, it was a faff. It's a faff, is what it is.
My orcs and goblins army, when I got the black orcs when they first were dropped, and I hated them. I hated them so much because you had this monopose black orc unit that was all in exactly the same pose. So I thought, right, I need to do something because monopose doesn't work with my brain. And nothing I did worked, and I ended up having to re-stick them back into the monopose. And it was like, rage.
Some of the miniatures of the era were just really well designed, so that they were all distinct and unique, but they didn't do that thing where you couldn't fit them into regiments. I always think of like the pink horrors of the era, which were really good. They were all unusual and weird and bizarre, but you could still fit them together into regiments, and they
was that the drumhead one?
That's the one, the drumhead one, the standard one that has the beak and the horns going up.
Well, that's why the pink horrors were always classed as skirmishers.
I can't remember. I don't.
No,
know.
it is.
I remember.
Legitimately, it's because they couldn't get them into a unit, so they had to be skirmishers.
I prefer those snake arrows. I do have a question on the army picture for Long Dong on page 5. What are in the foreground? Are those metal zombies? Is that what that's meant to be?
Let's have a look.
Because I don't recognize them. Because they look like zombies and they've got shields. So I imagine they're metal zombies that I just don't recognize.
What? I have no idea.
Okay, because I thought they looked pretty neat.
They are zombies of a kind, but
and they're using the old circular plastic shields, which the undead were known for.
Yeah, but
the shields are,
No, they're not, because they don't have the hole in the middle. You don't have the bump coming through the middle of the shields. They're stuck on.
I don't recognize them. They're the old zombies, aren't they? They're the old zombies from when the first Warhammer Armies Undead came out. But it looks like they've updated them. It looks like what they've done is stuck plastic shields onto them.
David says, "I think those are old white regiments, but I don't think they are. They look way more like zombies. They don't have the skeletal head of a white.
Yeah.
The skeletal head of Adam White.
Very peculiar miniatures. I can't remember off the top. They're sort of like, I can't remember.
I don't know. I'm going to have to look into them.
Yeah, I wondered if anybody knew.
Oh, but look behind them. Oh, they're the skeleton horde skeletons. Yeah. Oh.
And there's a White Lord with them, I do believe, as well.
Yep. I am going to have to work that one out because I have no idea what they are.
Because he's got a little Victorian cottage behind them that they're defending as well. Quite cute. And there's the proper hedgerows maze behind them. It seems like,
yeah.
to
flee into, isn't it? If it gets too scary, you can just run down there. And skeletons and zombies are too stupid to follow you as well. So,
well, I was going to say, one of the things that I love about this book, especially like page 14, is seeing the stuff that they did to make the scenery. There's page 14. You've got the trees that you'd expect, the hills that you'd expect. But there's a wall, and someone's been painting a picture, and it's got a little like Italian style well in there, and it's so good. It's like, oh man, I love it. I love seeing these pictures.
It is a very particular era, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not just for Warhammer either, but for like wargaming, tabletop wargaming in general. Most tabletop wargame settings look like this.
Yeah.
What's the undead dragon?
Oh, that's the White Lord on Zombie Dragon. All metal. All metal.
Oh, I bet.
It was a nightmare. Brilliant miniature, though. I mean, it still looked pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
It's tiny now. Obviously, it looks like it's very, very diddy compared to present day dragons, but it's not half bad. And it was one of the only dragons of its era that was a distinct kit from all of the others. It didn't follow the standard body shape. It was, for one thing, it was on all fours.
Yeah. Yeah, the idea was it was a dragon that came out of the deserts, basically, wasn't it? Rather than the forest dragons that we saw in the old world. So there was an entire thing about dragons and how dragons of different areas look different.
Yes, and the undead dragons. I remember there is a bit in the story of Nagash in the original army book Undead where he wanders through the graveyard of ancient dragons, doesn't he? Where there's the corpses of dragons that are so huge they could have swallowed like nations, the kind of which doesn't exist anymore in the old world. And that's where the undead armies resurrected their dragons from.
That's right.
Very cool. There's Kemmler, obviously, doing his thing.
There's the man himself.
I mean, the other thing about this book is that because it was a book of mercenaries, you didn't have to take it as an army. You could buy regiments, you could hire regiments from it for other armies, which was kind of fun. You could use it to sort of fill gaps in other armies, the way, if they didn't have ways of dealing with certain situations. Take the regiment that best suits.
David is absolutely correct. What we are seeing here as those zombies is the armored skeleton unit.
Oh my god, I don't even remember that. I don't even remember that.
Looking at pictures of it now, as they were painted in heavy metal, I kind of do. But yeah, I mean, they are old. They're they were kicking around for a long, long time before.
Because armored skeletons kind of went the way of the dodo very quickly, didn't they?
Yeah.
You know, because it quickly became, it was just skeletons.
Well, they became grave guards, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the armored skeletons became grave guard, or.
And I guess what's the difference between a white and an armored skeleton as well?
Exactly, not much.
Yeah.
Not very much.
Ah, well done, Big D.
Yeah.
He's bang on the money there.
One of the only difference back then was that the white blades did die 3 damage each.
Oof.
Crazy. They were a nasty unit, they were, if they hit, because they were dead slow.
See, Griff, you say good job to Big D. What Big D probably did was just search through a box and went, "Oh, that's what it is."
I knew I heard that wibbly wobbly sound of like the negative space being opened and unreasonable things with legs running out.
Well, I mean, Daffy says if Games Workshop ever do like another Dogs of War, and now the old world is out. There's loads of space for it, right?
You can basically refresh the line every time a new edition comes out and just says, "Well, time's moved forward."
And Cities of Sigmar, you could definitely do like easily. You could do Regiments of Renown now.
Well, as I said, they kind of do. They're just not as in depth. It's
it's not as dedicated, is it? As it is here.
It's an existing unit from another army that's been given a name, and that's
Daffod's right, by the way, about the mythology of whites. Whites, like if outside of Games Workshop, they're basically undead nobles that are buried in mounds. You know, in barrows, effectively.
In barrow on furnace.
So they're a bit more like in classic mythology. They've got more about them than normal, than like undead that are resurrected by, say, a necromancer or whatever. They actually have personality. They have something still inside of them, you know.
Yeah, no, they have a sense of self, which is not something that the undead usually have. You know, I always find really weird about this book, and it catches me out every single time. The Cursed Company aren't in it.
No. Yeah, you for years you were like, they're in this book, Andy. I was like, they're not. It's like, yeah, they are. It's like, no, they're not.
That's interesting, isn't it?
They're not in it at all.
No,
it's very interesting. You would have thought. Yeah?
Yeah.
You absolutely thought they would be.
They must have been released later on, like much further down the line, because in my brain, I can visualize the page that they're on, and it must have been in a White Dwarf, and it catches me out every single time. Because one of the things I was like gearing up to talk about was how good the Cursed Company is. And it's like, oh no, I can't talk about it because they're not in here.
Not Dogs of War.
Yeah, it's so strange to me that they're not here, but it's that wonderful thing about how your memory tricks you. Yeah,
of course. I mean, the other thing I love about this book is that at a time when everything was skewing more grimdark, this is going in the opposite direction.
Yep.
This is funny. This is really funny. Almost every regiment is kind of a joke.
Yes.
It's a reference to something else, normally historical, or like in the case of Beorn. Well, it's Beorn, isn't it? It's the character from The Hobbit.
Bjorn.
Yeah. It's it's funny. It's actually really funny to read, it's nice for there to be a little bit of a sense of humor still knocking about.
It's like his Bjorg Bearstruck and the Bearman of Urso. It's like, come on.
Yeah, how many different types of ways to say bear can you put into the title, yeah?
Yes. You might as well just call me Bear. From the town of
the beariest of all bears, yeah?
Yeah. From the town of Bear. Yeah, it's I love it. I love it so much.
Oh yeah, I remember those, Daffy. The pair of Albion giants that came way later on.
Yeah, they were in the Dark Fellowship.
I remember those.
I hated their design. They look like you breathe on their legs and they're just gonna break.
Very skinny, weren't they? Very, very skinny legs.
But fat. They've got skinny arms, skinny legs. They're lanky, and then they're fat as hell. I didn't think they looked cool. I preferred the 2D paper giant that had fallen over. I like that more.
That was based on the Marauder miniature.
Yeah, I thought that was the better one.
That Marauder miniature was fantastic. I mean, like, stand out, brilliant.
Why do giants not have hair? No, giants have hair. Well, very little hair. They have top knots. No, I mean new ones.
Oh, the new ones. Yeah, they don't know.
Giants always bald.
Yeah, thought that.
I'm gonna put a big old flag down on this hill and say Warhammer Giants have never looked great.
Yeah.
They've never been that amazing. Although I do love the Marauder one. The Marauder miniature.
Oh yeah.
That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, because he's just a big dude, and that's fine.
Big guy, right?
And the Morrisons always managed to create something spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
If I ever make a time machine, I'm going to go back in time and slap myself for just thinking Marauder miniatures weren't great.
Oh yeah, I mean, some of the Marauder miniatures have stood the test of time. They are really quite impressive.
They're amazing. They're amazing, and I don't know what was wrong with my stupid little brain when I was a kid.
It's that thing you do as a kid, though, isn't it? Oh, it's not official. It's not sort of part.
Yeah.
It's that thing that you do. You compartmentize.
It's probably as well. It's like it's not the new thing. Thus, it's bad because it's the old thing, and the old thing is not good.
Of course.
The fact that I kept turning down buying Marauder miniatures angers me. It's like, oh, you're a stupid child. You're a stupid.
You say that? You mean like for a deal or something? You mean like low prices discount? So.
Well, I mean, low prices at the time, yeah. Because trying to buy Marauder anything Marauder now is like.
I was going to say, trying to get the Marauder miniatures now is an investment.
Yes, it really is, and
put it that way.
Can't afford it.
3D printer time. 3D printer goes brrr.
Yeah.
Goldfag. Let's talk about Goldfag. Because
what a name.
That's an flag. Yeah. That's to me what ogres look like.
Yeah, it's the epitome of ogres.
The old ogres, the fairy tale ogres, effectively, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I prefer these to like Mongolians, effectively fat Mongolians. I think this is a better look for them.
I do like these guys. I've got. To say.
This guy looks like the dude from was he Golfag in Dark Tide? Not Dark Tide. Dark Omen.
Oh God, I don't know. Not sure.
I think
you do find an ogre, and I can't remember what his name was. You find him as you go through the mountains, if I remember.
Mm-hmm. Oh right.
I'm sure you might be actually onto something there,
because he did look like this, but I don't remember if it was specifically this dude or it's just the design works. Whatever, who cares?
Could well be.
Anything about Dark Omen? I think the enemy at the end of that game is the guy from Warhammer Quest, the expansion. The King, which is kind of fun to think about.
You might be right there,
Yeah.
No, it's just coming up with Total War stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would do these days, I suppose.
Yeah.
Lame. No one respects the classics.
This was from a time when like ogres had a very distinct look in Warhammer. They were very particular, and you had different species of ogre as well knocking about. So you had like chaos ogres and different types of ogres that did different things.
Dragon ogres, which is just this, but then with like a dragon art on them, which is fine.
Dragon ogres always annoyed me because they're not Zotes.
I did have one dragon ogre, and it was very cool. I had the one that was on its hind legs, double-handing the axe.
Oh, the big one, Andy.
Not the big one, but it was metal. It was on the monster base, like Golfag, that kind of size.
Here's a question.
Ogres, I mean, like ogres were generally mercenaries back then as well. If you remember, they were always mercenaries, regardless of what army they were hired by, because they kind of operated on their own.
Yeah, they
seem to remember the background of Goldfag saying he was just like a particularly clever ogre who'd learned how to like monetize it.
Yep. He learned that he could either be given food or given money, which he could buy food with. Yeah, which is just brilliant. I do love this era of ogres. Yeah, they're just weird looking and massive, and they're just so.
Well, they're fairy tale, aren't they? They've gone for like the real classic. Like if you've got a Ladybird book of fairy tales that had an ogre in it, it'd look like that on the cover, wouldn't it?
Yes,
I would have
absolutely.
been much more willing to get an Ogre King's army if they looked like
If
this.
they all look like that, yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. When they moved them over to that Mongolian look, it never worked for me.
No, well, they just look like big fat dudes.
Yeah,
like
you know, there's not much fantasy about them. It's kind of boring.
I always remember that release because it was like towards the very end of Warhammer Fantasy Battle's life, and it was so lackluster. It was like they didn't give a shit. I remember normally if a new army came out in White Dwarf, it would be like, oh wow, this is the new shit, this is great. They didn't really care.
Wait, are you saying GW didn't care about Warhammer Fantasy?
Yeah, right.
In the late 2000s.
Yeah. Right. And to be fair, they've never really cared that much about them, have they? They've always, even in AOS, they've been like sort of shunted right to the back of the queue.
Yeah, they are also here.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did the least amount of work they could do in order to get them moved over to AOS, and then that was it. They are also there.
Yes,
they're still very much AOS version 1 versions of them.
Very much.
Kind of like the Fire Slayers as well. They're very much the same beasts as they were when they came out visually.
They need scavening up, don't they? That's what they need.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things where I feel that if you're going to do that, then you really need to find something to hang a hat on when it comes to the ogres, because if you carry on with them as they are, there's not enough to really do anything with, because they're so hodgepodged a concept. Like the Flesh Eater Courts were, but then they managed to find a way to really focus in on the Flesh Eater Courts curse and how to make that
theme,
work.
isn't it? It's that theming. It's getting that narrative theme, that thing that coheres the army together. I mean, for the ogres, there's an obvious one there too. That rapacious hunger that drives them, the great maw. That's the way to go. Make them really hyper cannibalistic,
So they've got it. They've got the great hunger, and they worship the maw, Gorka Morka, in the form of the endless maw.
The endless maw, yeah.
But they're also constantly running because of storms chasing them. But they're also, and it's just that type of thing.
It's too much.
But also
focus on one.
Yeah,
focus on the hunger. That's classically ogre. That's classically ogre. And make them that in AOS. Make them like, how they made the Skaven like the manifestation of ruin.
Yeah.
Make them the manifestation of rapacious hunger. And make that the core of their mythology. That's the way to do it with them.
Yeah. It annoys me. Is there any other of these that stand out for you? Andy, I'll go to you.
I mean, I always thought the Birdmen were cool, but then I thought, like, in more recent years, oh god, they're on plastic stands. Oh god.
Yeah. Can you imagine, right?
Yeah. I think the design is neat. Da Vinci's flying machine made workable, I suppose. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, all the units have a really interesting look, at least the ones in the book. There wasn't one I didn't want to get, apart from the Giants, which came later.
Very decent background as well. I mean, they're interesting to read about. Primarily because they're funny. Especially if you know what they're referencing,
Yes, I'm just going to look at Leopold's Leopard Company and just like... just... For God's sake, it's just so. So, if anyone who doesn't know, I'm just going to mention a couple of things about Leopold's Leopard Company. So, Lucini is a city that was forged by the twins Lucan and Lucini, who took a refuge in a cave, which was the lair of a leopard. So, it's just like I'm just watching as. The entire story of ancient Rome is being mugged in an alleyway.
Yeah. It's exactly. It's ancient, exactly that. It's ancient Rome, right? You've got Leonardo di Maragliano, who is Leonardo da Vinci, and the description of how you include him is friggin' hilarious. Your Dogs of War may include Leonardo di Maragliano. Leonardo is not a wizard, nor a general. He is a unique character best described as a genius. He cannot lead the army, nor can he use spells. Instead, his expertise is in science, alchemy, and learning. Love it. Love it. Absolutely love it.
Mm-hmm. One of my favorite parts of this book is when you get the little posters and stuff that are just all the way through it.
Yeah, they're fun.
There's one which is 3 posters. The first is looking for work. The second one is we don't know where this company went. The third one is dead, possible escaping.
I mean, that's the other thing, right? I mean, these guys, despite their historical leanings, they are operating in the old world. It's a lot more dangerous. It's a lot more dangerous out there. You're not just going to be fighting people. You're going to be fighting monsters, you know?
Yeah. Volans Veneters have an amazing poster, which is for hire, Volans Venetiers. The answer to all your outstanding territorial claims, pretensions to power, political opposition, ungrateful subjects, treacherous relatives, noisy neighbours, no questions asked. The cost, very reasonable.
Hire spelled with a Y as well, which is always fun.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, it's it made made me chuckle.
I like that they've skewed away from the hyper serious stuff, which was becoming pretty standard in Warhammer back then.
At this bit in 5th, you got to remember that you have things like the little cartoons in the bottom corners of the rulebook.
Those.
Oh yeah, at the time, because I was a stupid child, I didn't like them because they weren't grimdark serious enough. But nowadays, love them to bits.
Have you seen the dwarf version of the pirate sea shanty?
I did, yes.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good.
I'm not gonna lie, I did think about using that as our cold open for this issue.
Oh, wow, yeah, right. Of course, it's a barrel of ale as opposed to a bottle of rum.
Yep.
Obviously.
It's so good. The one I really wanted to get into was the Al-Mukhtar's Desert Dogs, because I so wanted these for so long, and it's for the weirdest reason. And knowing my, should we say, hyperfixations that I get to, and how there's certain things that will not leave my brain alone. Does anybody know why I wanted the Al-Mukhtar's Desert Dogs?
Was it because you're a big fan of Aladdin?
I mean, yes, but that's not the full reason.
Okay, I don't know.
The Orfeo trilogy, because the Orfeo trilogy is entirely based in Araby, where Orfeo is doing his 101 Arabian Nights, telling the stories to the Sultan in order to stay alive for another night. And because of the way that they're described in the book, I just wanted an army of these guys. Yeah, it's just so cool. It's so cool seeing them.
And again, it's a slightly different aesthetic, like cultural aesthetic that you're getting from the standard Empire stuff, isn't it? It suggests much wider kingdoms and civilizations out there in the Warhammer world, which is really nice, right? That's something else these guys do. Because they're drawing on different historical and actual human cultures, it's expanding the remit of the old world a little bit. It's making it seem a bit bigger.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
I think the only failing is it would have been nice to get some different species.
Yes.
Like, or like pick back up some stuff that didn't exist or was dying out, like a Chaos Dwarf unit would have been quite nice as a nod. Zote for Gruff.
A Lizard Man regiment would be nice.
Yeah. Maybe a new species would have been, again, quite fun.
Yeah.
You do whatever you want and see what sold. If it sold well and had decent rules, so you could go, maybe we could expand this.
Maybe we could.
I think this
army,
the mercenary idea for like a book of mercenaries is a good kind of test bed for what people might like. Like you can do if one unit just people don't like and say, "Oh, this is shit. I don't like the concept of the idea." You go, "Well, we won't make it. We like this." You go, "Okay, go for it. Why not?"
Very much so. Yeah, it is a very, very clever way of testing potential future lines, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. And then, of course, later on they get real experimental in 6th Ed when you have things like Anacondas, Amazons. I
don't know if that's a joke or not.
No, that's real. That's real.
Okay.
That is. very, very real.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get the hobgoblins, the Gazet Khan hobgoblin art,
of course,
which was real cool, like absolutely awesome.
Are they in this book? Or are they not mentioned?
No, it was later on. It was much later after this book was released.
Yeah, 6th Ed, I think, is when they come out.
I think that's one of the interesting things, isn't it? Although it did kind of die a death, they still kept releasing like the odd one here and there.
Yeah. They had them all in White Dwarf, and they pushed them all out. So my guess is that there was always meant to be more Dogs of War stuff.
Oh yeah, I've no doubt. Even if it was just like conceptually, I bet there was like ideas flying all over the place.
Do you think it was just because of the failing of the fantasy world at that point that we're just like, well, we're not going to release another new army for it kind of deal, but we'll just do little bits here and there.
It was probably just like one of those, how they do have these like ethos shifts every now and then, these paradigm changes. I think that was largely it. After 5th Ed moving into 6th, it was a bit too sort of grimdark at that point for stuff like this.
Yeah, I mean, you did get the jokes, as I say, and Anaconda's Amazons turns up, which that's so tongue in cheek that your tongue is through the cheek and poking out the other side. But you also get things like Tuxotes Hellmounts, which was a Chaos Centaur regiment unit, which is like real grimdark. There's no joke to be found in there. There's no humor.
That makes a good point as well. My guess is getting the Lord of the Rings license and the Perrys moving across to that line exclusively was a big deal breaker. Yeah,
probably.
It left less space in White Dwarf, obviously, because you had like a third of it given over to the Lord of the Rings at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. And just less man hours, right, to do this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think that's a very good way of putting it, actually. There is only so many hours in the day, and there's only so much you can do within those hours. And I can imagine that a lot of this stuff does go away. A lot of concepts do get left by the wayside just because you have to feed the treadmill.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And of course, given the popularity of the Lord of the Rings license at that time, because the films were still coming out.
Yeah, it was a smart business move. That's the way you go for the money.
Absolutely, yeah.
Even though I didn't like those models, they were tiny.
I didn't either. They didn't do it for me. But what fantasy setting do you focus your attention on? Well, you focus on the one that's got high popularity at that time, right?
Yep.
What? There was a band called the Astilian Banderleos Gringo, and they have no miniatures.
No miniatures. They were just like a regiment, were they?
Just kind of looking it up now. Oh, they were back from 3rd Ed, right? Okay.
Okay. I was going to say, right.
Oh man, I was so excited there. The idea of
that's what you get for feeling joy.
Yeah, they really did struggle actually to balance 40K, the fantasy setting, and the Lord of the Rings, particularly within the pages of White Dwarf.
Oh, don't worry, George. They'd make sure that they sorted that out in the future.
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
Well done.
Yeah.
Not only did you hit the nail right on the head there, I think you put the nail through the wall there.
Yeah, it was just the right edge of sarcasm. It was just the right edge.
Oh man, right. So with that being said, then, has anybody got anything else that they want to talk about for Dogs of War?
Really,
I'd love to see it come back. Yeah. I think that's the main thing, and I think it could exist in AOS. It could exist in the old world.
You could do a 40k version of it if you wanted.
Yeah,
I'd love to see a 40k version of this, wouldn't you?
I mean, you could argue you could kind of argue Necromunda is almost.
Yeah, absolutely. It's almost the same thing, right?
You just need to transfer that force into an army, and then you justify it by saying like orcs invade Necromunda and all the gangs come together.
Or someone gets off world on an old junker ship and they go sailing around the stars, right?
Yeah.
Fuck not,
Absolutely.
It was. I mean, Daffy's got it. It was just a great way. He says it's a great way to give a bit of flavour for parts of the old world we could never get a full army for. Yeah. And to suggest what they could have been. Yeah. It expanded the remit of the old world. It kept it a bit vital when it might have been flagging a little bit in comparison to 40k as well. It gave it a little bit of a boost. It was fun. It was a really interesting era. I found.
You could argue this kind of idea is a more interesting painter's thing as well, because you're not painting the same thing over and over and over again. You're going to be painting something unique each time, which is nice.
Yeah.
No, 100% correct. Yeah, bang on the money there. It's because what you then end up with is something very varied on the battlefield, which is always going to be visually interesting.
And just
but thankfully still cohesive, because they're different, but they all kind of still work together visually. You don't, they don't stick out and you go, oh, that can't go with that. It's like, oh no, somehow it works.
It does
visually.
Work. Yeah. You're all right. It does fit together somehow. And that would be great, wouldn't it? If you are one of those hobbyists that finds sitting and painting like blue 1,000 times over, if you're doing ultramarines or whatever, this army's kind of for you, right?
Yeah, definitely. Red Scope Mini says, I think the pirate hats for the 18th July preview might have been Dogs of War.
Oh,
you bastard!
Wow. I mean, can you imagine? Jeez, wouldn't that be brilliant?
I swear to God, if it's vampire counts, I'm going to have such the weirdest to and from happening inside me.
Yeah.
It was like, here's the vampire coast.
Wow.
That'd be great.
That would be cool.
I want that, but also,
but you know what I think it is? The pirates thing. It's the Dripari. They're the next on the roadmap. They've always been the elder pirates. I think
I'll start.
Yeah,
I'm going to start snapping necks. You can't stop me. I swear to God, after the Cruel Boys endeavor, where I proper convinced myself the Fimir were coming back, and then we get that.
Although, Adam, I think it's pretty much confirmed that this is going to be your preview. This is going to be like for you what the Emperor's Children were for me in January. You know.
Well, or it's going to be for Andy, where it's the vampire coat.
Yeah. But, I mean, come on. They said big hats are the best hats. Come on. Yes. Honestly. Everybody, it's not just me, everybody on the internet who's in the Warhammer space has interpreted this as the Chaos Dwarves coming back. You know?
And do you know why I am convinced more so that this is the Chaos Dwarves than I was convinced of the Fimir? It's because the Blood Bowl team.
Yeah.
So they did the Blood Bowl team last year.
Yes, and then
I have them twice. Yeah, that's how good they are.
Beautiful miniatures.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Miniatures.
I've given them all axes. They go around.
The cowboy hat be that? You know, cowboy, bull centaur. Elaborate pun. I don't know.
Yeah, I can see that. But we shall see. We shall see on the 18th, because I'm trying my best not to.
Daffodil asks, but do we think Chaos Dwarfs for the old world or AOS? It's AOS, I think.
AOS.
It's AOS.
It's definitely AOS.
Yeah.
Well, they've been dropping too many hints in AOS. That's the thing. Literally every bloody army book that's come out in AOS has just made some little mention, reference to them. I think it's AOS.
And again, the old world is not that big in comparison to either of those. Those are the two big flagship games that you're going to be teasing for. They didn't really tease Cathay. They just went, here's Cathay. And that was a brand new thing.
As brilliant as it is. I mean, oh my God, that line.
Have you seen how big the balloons actually are?
It's absolutely gigantic, isn't it? That is a big miniature.
Yeah. I don't think the word miniature works anymore. It's huge.
It's a bigature, isn't it?
A bigature, yeah.
But my God, I mean, if something like that's the kind of thing, looking at it, where I'm like, oh my God, they're actually dedicated to the old world, because I didn't think they were up until the Cathay release. I thought it was kind of like they're sort of treading the waters a bit. The Cathay release has said to me, no, they are absolutely dedicated to this, to the point whereby they're going to release new armies for it.
Yeah. Old World is doing really well, really well.
I'm very impressed. I've got to say, I'm very impressed. More than I thought I would be.
Yeah, I had my doubts on it. I thought that there was going to be too many plates spinning, but they've managed to do it. They've
done quite well. They've done quite well with it. But yeah, I'm just very interested to see what they do with the Chaos Dwarfs for AOS. I imagine they're going to have some of the aesthetics of that Blood Bowl team. You know? But what are they going to be? You know, what is the dynamic of the army going to be? And how are they going to rewrite the fluff for them?
Yeah.
I mean, Hashut is coming back. Hashut is going to be their god, definitely, because they keep talking about Hashut. The Skaven have basically released him, haven't they?
Yes.
With their drilling down through reality, they've released Hashut back into the warp or into the realm of chaos. So, yeah, I'm just fascinated. I'm fascinated.
I'm not saying I'm right, but I was right. I called it. I called it. Right then. So with all that being said, we will draw this particular episode to a close. Andy, where can people find you if they wanted to hunt you down and lick your face?
You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube as Decayed Andy. You can find me on the Moonbase 2 podcast, Moonbase 2 Transformers podcast, in lots of places as well. Just Google it, you'll find it. And that's about it.
Okay. George, where can people find you if they wanted to come and leave burnt offerings at your feet?
They'd better if they're coming to find me, quite frankly. They can find me over at the Exaggerated Elegy channel, where there are a couple of podcasts occurring at the moment. There's quite a lot going up there very, very soon. You can find me on Our Lives in Horror, which is another podcast YouTube channel where I interview people from the independent small press horror scene, and it's just like general chats about horror fiction and, in any form, video games, book, films, whatever. You can find links to all my published work, my short story collections, and all of the anthologies that I feature in over at strangeplaygrounds.com. Or if you go over to the Evil Empire of Amazon and type in George Daniel Lee, you'll find my Amazon author page, links there. And if you go to gingernutsofhorror.com, you will find my ongoing non-fiction series of essays and articles, which is the My Life in Horror series. And I think that's it for me at the moment. There is stuff coming up, but I've got to keep that stum at the moment. I can't talk about it yet. Yet. But
you and your secrets.
I will soon.
As for myself, you can find me, you can find the Fluffenhammer anywhere. You just search for the Fluffenhammer. Just search for us. You'll find us. We are on Threads, Instagram, Facebook.
I actually just had a fucking involuntary shudder when you said Threads. And you know why, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know why, yeah?
Yeah. No, the social media site Threads, not the BBC.
I had a flashback.
I'm not wearing a Tesco bag as a mask on Threads, I promise.
Jesus.
Oh dear. And the only reason we're on Threads, I'll be honest with you, is because Instagram signed me up and now sends all of the things to Threads at the same time. So I didn't realize that was happening until like 2 weeks ago. So all that's being said, myself, you can find my personal stuff at adnickel.weebly.com, where I've got art, I've got short stories. You can get all of the audiobooks that I've got up there for free, including We Can Remember It For You Wholesale, which it's in the public domain now. So
which some of you may know as Total Recall.
Indeed. And everyone loves a bit of Philip K. Dick.
Yeah, absolutely. Very different from the film, by the way. Both very good.
Cool.
Both very good, but the book is a sort of far cry from the film.
When you said both very good, I thought you meant both films. I was going to argue with you there.
No, both book and film. No.
Yeah. But both book and original film.
Yes, book and original film. Yeah.
The second film the remake is just baffling.
Absolutely dire. Yeah, it's just there.
Yeah. You can also find us on Patreon for a singular $1. You can get weekly Sunday musings early. You can get all the YouTube videos early. You can get loads of stuff early. And there is a Patreon show known as The Deep Dives, where we, in theory, go through an old article of Games Workshop's history. In theory, because sometimes that conversation then goes off on a tangent, as well you might expect.
Yeah, well done, Big D. Thank you.
Yeah, Big D.
Mm-hmm.
But also you get the Fluffenbusters where Big D and Mr. White go through all of these different films that are basically related to 40k. Me and Big D did Event Horizon recently, and that is...
Haven't people even like theorized that Event Horizon, like fan theorized that Event Horizon is like a precursor to 40k?
You'll have to watch the show to get the full skinny on that one. I get deep into that.
Yeah. Aesthetically, yeah, I can see how I can see why you could interpret it that way.
It's all down to the fact that the guy who wrote it is a massive tabletop nerd.
Yeah, and it's the warp, isn't it? I mean, like, it's effectively like if you turn the blinkers off, you could just watch it as that, if that's what you wanted to. This is what happens when you go through the warp without a Jellifield, people.
Yep. Yes, pretty much. But then there's the Event Horizon comic coming soon, which is going to look like it's going to solidity a lot of the concepts from it. So I don't know how I feel about that yet.
Interesting. That'd be interesting to see what they do with it.
Yeah, because it's all about Paimon. So I'm like, don't know how I feel about Paimon. It's
okay.
Yeah.
So there's a specific demon in it. That's interesting.
Yeah,
because one of the things about Event Horizon that I really like is the fact that it doesn't have that. It's a more sort of nebulous notion of hell.
Yes. Yeah, it's like a sentient universe. That wants to hurt you. Yeah. Well, it's the idea of actually having a named
active agents in it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in two minds. But I'll get it and I will read it and I will talk about it.
Yay!
So with all that being said, we will get out of here for this recording and I think have a little break and a toilet trip.
Yay!
If you are watching on the stream, we'll be back very, very soon with the next episode.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.